Hello, this is Matt Brisboy with the Newport Beach Fire Department, and I'm up here at Fire Station 7. We wanted to show the Newport Beach public what our 8-month probationary rookie test kind of looks like. And so I'm here with Training Division Chief Justin Carr. And Chief Carr, can you explain really what the rookies are going through? Today is their 8-month probationary test. We have a group of rookies that are kind of going through. Can you kind of explain to the Newport Beach public kind of the whole process of what it takes to become a Newport Beach firefighter?
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you. These guys have started over 8 months ago, and they tested with our city to try and become a firefighter here in the city of Newport Beach. Once they were successful in passing the test and going through a few interviews, they were offered a position, and then they started a 6-week recruit academy where they went through 6 weeks of training to learn how to do things the Newport way. And although they had already been through a training on their own with a fire academy prior to getting hired, we like to train them in the way that we like to get things done here in Newport Beach. So after that, they hit the floor, and then they continue their training with a captain, and they work for 8 months. They've been working hard to get to this point and learning all the different ways we do things here in Newport Beach. It's an arduous process, it's very stressful, and by the time they get here, they're pretty well polished and ready to go.
Well, thank you, Chief Carr. So these rookies have been going through 8 months. They've been on the floor. They've been through a 6 weeks academy. This is their 8-month probationary test. This test is essentially a pass-fail test. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's a pass-fail.
Pass-fail. And then when they're done with this test, they'll go back to the floor, and they'll have another test at 14 months.
That's
right?
correct.
Another 14-month test, and at the end, it's an 18-month probation. At the end of their probation, they're officially hired on as a Newport Beach firefighter, ready to go and move up the ranks as they proceed with their careers. And for the most part, most of our firefighters end up working 30-plus years, an entire career here with the city of Newport Beach.
That's correct. So the process for probation is an 18-month, as you said, and we kind of split it in two. This is the halfway point. So if they pass this test at 8 months, then they continue on, and at 14 months they'll have an additional test, and that's kind of their final test. It's even more strenuous than this one, where they've learned kind of more of the advanced parts of being a firefighter. Once they pass that test, they get through their 18-month probation, then they're official here, and they stay in Newport Beach, hopefully for the rest of their career.
Great. And in terms of your position, Chief Carr, one of the things you're responsible for is all of the fire department testing, from the probationary firefighter, engineer, paramedic, captain, all the way up. Beyond just the day-to-day training that firefighters have to do to maintain all of our certifications, you also do all of the testing that goes through, this being really the entry level, the first level in terms of going up the ranks with the Newport Beach Fire Department.
That's correct. The training office takes care of all the promotional testing, so we're constantly doing promotional tests throughout the year for different positions on the fire department, whether it be engineer, paramedic, captain, battalion chief. So we handle all of those testing in addition to the firefighter testing that we're doing today.
And today with the rookies, they got here early this morning, they took a written test. Now they're going through and doing evolutions. They have no idea what they're being tested on other than rough areas, but they have to go through all these 30 to 45-minute stations, each one being kind of a pass-fail type scenario.
That's correct. So they are familiar with most of the evolutions that they're doing, but you're right, they don't know exactly which ones they're going to be tested on. So they have to do quite an encompassing study habit of getting all this stuff taken care of so that when they get out here, they're prepared for it and they're ready to go.
And really the importance of this rigorous testing for all of our firefighters, it really is truly a life and death scenario when they show up on an engine, a truck, a medic unit, how everyone on the team responds. It's incredibly important that they all respond in unison, doing the things that they anticipate each position is supposed to do.
Absolutely. It's a team effort every time we go out on a call anywhere. Emergencies can be very dynamic. You may be facing things that could be life or death. And we want to make sure these individuals are well prepared and well trained so that they're going to be safe and they're going to keep not only the fire department and the firefighters safe, but also keep the public safe.
Well, thank you, Chief Carr. Let's take some of the Newport Beach residents around and show them some of the evolutions and what our rookie probationary firefighters go through. Okay, everyone, we're here at one of our first stations. So, Chief Carr, can you explain exactly what the rookie firefighter behind you is kind of going through and what he's doing?
Absolutely. This is one of the hose evolutions. So you'll see him in the background here. He's taking the 4-inch supply line. He's hooked it up to a hydrant, and they're supplying what we call a ground monitor. We put in a lot of water through that, and that's basically when we're going to put up a large amount of water into a fire from outside. It's an exterior hose line, so he's setting all that up.
So this scenario today that's simulating like a large storage fire, a big incident that we have, this would be one of our first in units, one of our first firefighters on scene setting things up. So as you can see from the background here and just what this probationary firefighter is going through, it's a lot of movement, it's a lot of running, it's a lot of getting things back and forth, and the gear that he is wearing is really designed to protect him, but it's not the ultimate protector. It's really the best thing that we have at the moment in terms of protecting firefighters when they run into structure fires and things like that. But it is incredibly heavy, 75 to 80 pounds of gear for them to carry in and out on top of the additional gear with the hose and everything else. It can be very, very strenuous. So thank you. We'll go check out our next station. All right, everyone, we're here at our second evolution, and I'm here with Training Captain Kevin Tescarino. And Captain Tescarino has been the one really responsible for getting all of these tests set up and really taking our rookie firefighters from the moment they're hired all the way through their entire probationary period of 18 months. So Captain Tescarino, we've already been through the first station, the storage fire and everything that's going on here. What is our second station going on here behind us? I see a lot of hose being laid. What exactly are we testing them behind us here?
Well, on this evolution, it's evolution number 2, and we are simulating a fire at Park Newport Apartments.
Okay.
And Park Newport is a center hallway apartment complex, multi-level. So they're going to lay in, which means they're going to lay a supply line from the hydrant to the engine, give them water, continuous water flow. From there, they're going to throw the 24-foot extension ladder on the other side of the balcony.
Okay.
And then they're going to do is they're going to lay another line, take it up the ladder, and prepare to fight fire interior. Okay. And this is a simulation of not having enough time to go interior through the actual hallways and making a quick aggressive attack through another unit on that floor.
By utilizing the ladder, going up and down.
Sometimes those are decisions that the captain has to make on scene based on life safety, people that are trapped, maybe getting the fire in the incipient stages where it's barely growing and knocking it down, putting water on it. So that's just a quicker attack as opposed to going through the inside.
So utilizing the ladders for this attack, like we see the firefighter right here behind us going to grab, is really something that he's taking the direction from his captain, and we're seeing if he can do exactly what he's being asked to do.
Correct. And that's something that our probationary firefighters, they're trained in every type of scenario because no fire is similar or alike. You could have 100 fires at the same complex, but they're all going to burn differently, be at different units, create different types of challenges. So we train them in every way possible. In case there is a scenario where we go a little bit out of the box, they're going to be able to adapt and be successful.
Okay, Captain Tescarino, can you explain exactly what the rookie firefighter here behind us is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're throwing the 24-foot extension ladder on the balcony, and they're checking for all 4 points of contact because safety is still number one concern, even during firefighting. They're checking to make sure that ladder is safe for them to climb and other people that are coming behind them. Once he secures the ladder, that's where they're going to pull in the other attack line. They're going to pull it over here, come in through the balcony, and attack the fire.
Okay, and so this is basically the middle of our evolution number 2.
Yes.
And we'll watch our rookie firefighter go through it right now.
Okay, so at this point, the firefighter made entry onto the balcony of the unit and flaked up some hose line, and now they're about to make an attack. They're going to put on their breathing apparatus, put on their mask, but they're also checking for heat through that door before they go in. So as you can see, firefighter Gonzalez, he's putting on his breathing apparatus because he is assuming that interior inside of that door, there's a lot of smoke, a lot of superheated gases, so it's going to protect him as well. So the breathing apparatus, it's called an SCBA, short for self-contained breathing apparatus, and it holds approximately 45 minutes of air, but when somebody is working, it could be right around 20 minutes. And what we do is called a buddy check, and that's what he's doing right now. He's making sure his flash hood, all of his skin is covered, and making sure it is working properly, because when he turns it on, there could be a malfunction. So he wants to make sure he has sufficient air to accomplish the task. There have been times where the breathing apparatus does not work, and at that point, we have to communicate with the captain, let the incident commander know what's going on, and then get another crew to finish the evolution or task.
Okay, we're back here with Fire Training Captain Kevin Tescarino. And Captain Tescarino, can you explain exactly what the Newport Beach process is in terms of getting hired on as a firefighter, how extensive it is, how long it takes for these candidates to get here to this 8-month point?
Yes, absolutely. So it starts with the application, and they apply with a few hundred people. So out of the application process comes the written exam, the interview, and then they finally get hired. But It's really competitive. At that point, we put them through a fire academy of 6 weeks. It's an orientation, and they learn the Newport way. So our standards are very high. So we want to ensure that when they get on the floor, they're ready to perform and do their duties.
Right. So these rookies, after they finish their 6-week probationary academy, they're probationary employees for a full 18 months. They get put on an engine, a truck company to start going through. We rotate them through. We want to see how well they do working full shifts, how well they work in and out. And really one of the primary importance, the really reason why we put them through this extensive training, it really is truly a life and death situation with how these engine and truck companies respond, making sure all of our personnel respond in the same fashion, regardless of what rank they're at. We have to kind of have that team approach on every call.
Yes, that is correct. And this last class, we hired 5 firefighters. And unfortunately, one didn't make it so far. So we have a total of 4 right now that are getting tested.
We're here with Newport Beach probationary firefighter Thomas Thornberry, and Thomas is one of the ones in our current probationary class. And Thomas, you've been working for the past 8 months. You got hired on 8 months ago and been going through this entire process, kind of leading up, getting ready for this test. How has the process been the last 8 months, and how has this test been going thus far for you today?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So the past 8 months have been great. Becoming a firefighter for the Newport Beach Fire Department is definitely a dream come true. We train every day, day in and day out. We do night drills, day drills. I mean, you never know when it's going to come, so you got to train 24/7. Preparing for this 8-month test has been great. Like I said, we train a lot, so I feel like I'm very well prepared. The crews here at Newport Beach Fire Department have done a great job in preparing me for this test. So, I'm ready. I'm ready to get through it and move on. I look forward to a long, healthy career here in the city of Newport Beach, and I don't think it could get any better.
Nice. And although this is your first test here with the city of Newport Beach, it's hopefully one of many, your 14-month test, and then eventually an engineer, medic, maybe a captain test down the line, and continue to move up our ranks over your 30-plus year career here with the city of Newport Beach.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So from here, I'll get moved to my truck rotation, where I'll spend a number of months training for my 14-month test, which entails a few different tactics here on the fire ground. So from here on out, I prepare for that 14-month test, and really the training and testing never stops. Like you said, you always test for that next promotional position, or wherever you take yourself into specialty training or wherever it may be, you're always training, never stops.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and good luck on the rest of your test today.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm here with Battalion Chief Nick Lucas, and behind us is one of Nick's probationary firefighters. Each of our probationary firefighters and all of our firefighters are assigned to a shift, A, B, and C, and Nick runs and manages one of those shifts for all of the operations. So about a third of our rookies get assigned to Nick ultimately, and Nick is the one that supervises them, as well as all the captains, engineers, medics, and firefighters on his shift. So Nick, what's going on behind us right now is our third evolution for the rookie firefighters, and it's called our 2-minute drill. Can you explain kind of exactly what the probationary firefighter is going through behind us?
Yeah, the 2-minute drill is basically a test to see if they can get in full turnouts, which means their pants, their jacket, their air pack, and their hood and their face mask on in 2 minutes or less. And what this simulates is we can get a call at any time, and we have to go from what we're currently dressed in, which would be our station uniform, what I'm wearing, into full gear, ready to do work.
And that full gear, as we learned at the first station, weighs anywhere between 75, 80 pounds, depending, on top of their normal body weight and on top of everything else. And that doesn't include anything they could be asked to carry, like a stick of hose, anything else like that would add to that weight as well.
That's correct. So whatever tools they might have with them that they carry, some carry tools in their pockets. So that could be dependent on what their weight varies.
Right, but it's a lot of weight they carry on top of their normal body weight, and in the heat and things like that, they lose a lot of their, they lose a lot of sweat and things like that as they're going through this evolution. So what we'll see right now is we'll watch him come through and work a door here and then run some hose.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So in this evolution, we're simulating a fire in Colonel Mar in a duplex, one of the rear units on the property. We're telling the firefighter that the front door is locked. They're going to have to force entry. They're going to have to take their tools and their hose line to the location, make entry, and then go up to the stairwell and perform firefighter duties, extinguish the fire, search and rescue.
Okay, we're here at our station number 4 of our firefighter rookie 8-month probationary testing, and we're here with Engineer Alan Baker, one of our subject matter experts here in the fire department on light search and rescue, as well as our ropes and any type of specific technical rescues that we have. So Alan, can you explain really what the rookie firefighter behind us is going through and what skills we're testing to see if they're proficient in?
He's going over what we call a lower ambulatory pickoff. It's simulating a victim that may be a window washer stuck off a high rise, someone stuck off one of our high angle cliffs down coast, and if they're trapped, he'll be lowered down by 2 operators here on 2 different rope systems. He'll be lowered down, and what we call an ambulatory pickoff, he'll place a harness on that victim, secure the victim, and then they'll be lowered down to a safe position.
And so these are really technical rescues that we have quite often in Newport Beach, particularly in our cliff areas, a lot of our high rises, other areas that really require some technical expertise in terms of how to do this. But what's really important is that he does it by the standards that we're kind of anticipating, that each of you is moving and doing the right things for each position. Is that really the most important part about testing him today, to make sure that he knows exactly what he is supposed to do in terms of his role in this kind of rescue?
Correct. I mean, real world, we'd have multiple people setting this up, so the time frame would just be much quicker. But his test is to set up everything so he is proficient at each position. So the first on-scene captain may say, you're going to set up one lifeline, and that would be his job. He may be the rescuer, which then he puts on his harness, gets the ambulatory victim harness set up, and he's the one that's going over the edge to do the ambulatory pickoff. So by being tested in each position, he's ready to go should an actual event take place.
Great. Well, thank you for being here with us today, Engineer Baker, and good luck to our probationary firefighters at this station. All right, I'm here with probationary firefighter Jeffrey Stribling, and Jeffrey's in a unique position because he is just coming up on his 18 months, the end of his probation. So he's in a different rookie class, and he's been going through and he's finished all of his testing, his 8-month test and his 14-month test, and he's just a mere few weeks away from getting his probationary badge taken away and his permanent badge being handed to him for the remainder of his career as a firefighter. So Jeffrey, how has the last 14 months been in terms of getting everything through? It must be kind of unique to come here and work on an 8-month test, one that you just went through 6 months ago.
Yes, sir, that's absolutely right. The last 14 months have been great. There's 2 tests that are involved with it, an 8-month and then a 14-month test. Completed both of those. They're both very strenuous and rigorous training. Coming up on 18 months now, and the training never stops.
And you're, if I'm correct, getting ready, your next step will be a medic test, is what you're hoping to be? Are you currently you're currently a paramedic and hopefully be testing for that position in the upcoming years?
Yes, sir. That would be the next step in the process, is to work on the paramedic accreditation for the county. That's something I'm excited about, as well as working on my engineer cert, both for the truck and the engine.
Great, and you must be excited now that once you're off probation here officially in a few weeks, then you'll be here for the rest of your career as a Newport Beach firefighter.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited for the future. Definitely going to spend the rest of my career here in Newport Beach, and I'm excited to be here.
Great. Well, thank you for being here for the interview. I'm here with probationary firefighter Javier Gonzalez, and Javier is one of our 4 firefighters in our current rookie class who's been going through his 8-month probationary testing today. And Javier, how have things been going at this 8-month test? Was it about what you were expected, been training for the last 8 months?
It's been exactly like what we expected. We've been training hard for the past 8 months, pretty much setting ourselves up for success for this particular test. Everything's been going great, and I think everybody's been doing really well.
Nice. And Javier, you have a lot of experience with other fire departments. You come here to Newport Beach with a long fire career. Are you really excited about getting through this probationary process and kind of finishing your fire career here in the city of Newport Beach?
I think about it every day, and I wake up in the morning and I get excited just thinking about it. I was super excited this morning to get up and complete this test and get on with the next part of my career for sure.
Which is really, in your case, learning about all the other positions in the fire department, where you're going to promote, where you'll fit in and things like that. This is really the start of many tests for you as things continue on in your fire career.
Yes, sir, that is correct. Right now I'm just looking forward to getting through my probation and excelling, getting well-rounded, developing some good habits, and see where it goes from there.
Great. Well, thank you for having us, Javier, and thank you for this interview. Okay, we're here at station number 5 of our firefighter probationary testing, and we're here with paramedic Drew Caford, and this is one of our EMT stations. And Drew, can you explain what EMT stands for, what we're really testing here at this station, the public may not be aware, but the fire department really a big bulk of our calls are medical related calls. And so our paramedics, you're here with your paramedic partner, Dustin Soupe, and Dustin's going to kind of demonstrate exactly what this call is about. But can you go into explaining EMT and your role as a medic here in the department?
Absolutely, Matt. So as Matt said, about 80% of our calls here in Newport are medical calls. So all of our firefighters are also trained to the emergency medical technician level and able to provide immediate medical care. As my partner Dustin will demonstrate, he's going to assess a patient just like he would if you call 911 and you have a medical emergency at your house.
And then we're going to watch, and we're going to let you watch as one of our rookies is being tested on this. But we thought we'd put Drew's paramedic partner through the rigor today and let you all see kind of the step-by-step process. And Drew, just so the public understands, Dustin and you are trained paramedics, which is at a much higher level than our EMT, which is what everyone in our department is based on.
That's correct, Matt. So everyone is trained to a base level of EMT, and then another step up from there is additional year of training for paramedic level, which Dustin and I are both trained to that. We're able to administer medications to you as well as intubate and shock your heart if need be.
So it's a full additional year of training plus continuing ongoing training for you to maintain your medic certification.
That's correct.
All right, and every call in Newport Beach that's medical related will always get 2 Newport Beach paramedics, a Newport Beach medic van showing up to pick them up to do it from call all the way through to transport to the hospital.
That's correct, Matt. You have a paramedic at your door within 5 minutes and a transport either at the same time or just behind them available to take you to any hospital or, our closest and appropriate hospital.
All right, well, thank you. Well, let's see how paramedic Soupe does on this simulated call.
So I'm coming in, I'm looking for any environmental hazards. It looks like right now we're coming into a residential house, somebody's sitting in a chair. I don't expect any environmental hazards. Looks like I only have one patient. The mechanism of injury seems to be a medical call in nature. I don't need any additional resources. I have my paramedics on their way, and there's no need for extricating the patient at this time. As we're looking at our patient, I'm not suspecting any spinal immobilization needs, so we're going to go ahead and hold off on that unless we otherwise saw any potential trauma. Coming up to my patient, I'm getting my general impression of the patient. I'm looking at seeing what his skin signs tell me. What's his overall appearance? What is his level of distress? Looking at this patient right now, he seems to be in mild, maybe moderate distress. I'm not considering this a critical patient at the time. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to get my level of orientation. As I walk up, my patient is tracking me. He's alert. Hi, sir. What's your name?
My name is Mike.
Hey, Mike. My name is Dustin. And as I come up, I'm establishing my patient contact. He's able to tell me his name. Mike, do you know where you are right now?
I do. I'm at my house.
Okay. And about what time of day is it right now?
I think it's about noon.
Okay. And Mike, what's going on today?
I'm just feeling really weak.
Okay. So you'd say weak. Do you have any pain anywhere?
No, no pain. Just really feeling weird.
Okay. So this is Mike. He's alert. We call it oriented ×4. He knows where he is, what day of the week it is. And he knows what's going on right now. He's telling me that he's feeling weak. Okay, Mike, so part of our primary impression, we're going to come up, we're checking what we call ABCs. First thing we're going to assess is his airway. He's able to talk to me. He has a patent airway. There's no need to open his airway. If we did, we can use what we call a jaw thrust maneuver or a head tilt chin lift if no trauma was suspected. We don't feel that right now, so we're going to hold off on that. We're going to go ahead and assess his breathing. I'm looking at just his overall quality of his breathing, his rate, his effort, and the depth of his breathing. If I did suspect if he was breathing fast or having difficulty breathing, we might put him on oxygen. If he wasn't breathing or was breathing too fast, we may even consider ventilating the patient, which is using a bag valve mask to ventilate him. Then I'm going to go ahead and check circulation. I already checked his skin temperature. His skin may be a little bit warm, but otherwise normal. Checking his pulse, rate, rhythm, and quality. So his pulse is strong and regular. And we're looking for any major bleeding. I'm going to also check his capillary refill. We should expect capillary refill less than 2 seconds. And then at this point, I'm going to get into my secondary assessment. I'm going to determine that this patient is not a critical patient at the time. If he was, we'd get our ambulance here as soon as possible, load him up, and get going. But we'd probably stay with this patient and do what we call a secondary assessment. And that's when we start to dig more into the actual etiology of what is going on. And we would get our vital signs, get all of our history of the patient, and kind of what led up to where they're at now. And then we would any appropriate interventions that we would need to do based on blood pressure. If we needed to, when the medics get here, put them on our cardiac monitor and treat them with medication, or like if there was an allergic reaction, if we needed to give them any medication like Benadryl or epinephrine, we do that then. So that's it for the patient. That's our primary assessment. We didn't really get too much into the secondary, but that's the basics of every single medical aid that we run on.
So just as Dustin mentioned and demonstrated in this call, all of these steps go through his mind in a matter of 30 seconds while he arrives on a call and begins to assess a patient, although he was more slowly and methodically verbalizing it to us here today. As Dustin also mentioned, our ambulance with our paramedics would be en route. We have paramedics both on our fire engines and in our ambulance. And here in Newport, we're specific in the fact that we pride ourselves on our customer care and our customer service, and we handle you at your house with your emergency all the way to the hospital instead of passing you off to a private ambulance company. Thanks for coming in today.
Okay, I'm here with Assistant Chief of Operations Jeff Boyles. And Chief Boyles, this is obviously an exciting day here in the fire department to have these 4 rookies finish their 8-month probationary testing. Now, you get the pleasure of supervising every single person in the department, from our probationary rookies all the way up to our battalion chiefs. And for you, adding these 4 new people onto the department and really getting them through this process must be fairly exciting.
It is exciting. These employees that we have now are coming into a new set of standards that we just implemented a couple of years ago, where they now have an 18-month probation. So today, at their 8-month mark, we're testing them as much as we can in real-life fire and hose-related situations. They go up on our tower and they do some rappelling and rescue operations, and it gives us an idea of where they are, things they can work on, things they're doing well on, and an opportunity to put them in a little bit of a stressful testing environment so we can see how they respond.
And in the fire department here in Newport, training is obviously a really, really important part of it. You were our training chief for a number of years and really understand what goes into all of our training. And it really does come down to, these are life and death situations that we need to simulate with our firefighters beforehand as best we can before they experience the real thing.
Absolutely. These guys have been through quite a bit of extensive training even before we hire them. They go through basic fire academy, and many of them work for other fire departments, either in a reserve or a full-time capacity. And by the time we get them, we put them through our own training academy, and then they train on a daily basis. And like I said earlier, they're here for the first time at their 8-month big probationary exam, where we put them through the paces and we do as much as we can to see how they respond under stress.
Well, thank you, Chief Boyles, and thank you to all the Newport Beach residents who have joined us here in the Newport Beach Fire Department for our 8-month probationary test. And we look forward to sending you more videos and doing more things on the fire department here in Newport Beach and all the different things that we do, whether it be training, events, or some of our calls. So thank you for joining us.